this is Laura from LIVEVISIONZ.com, and I wanted to do a video today and give you some information on compatibility with the signs. Now, the signs that I'm going to go through each sign from Aries to Pisces. I'm going to let you know how you get along with each sign. But when you watch your video, just know that there's more to a sign than a sun sign or just one element, okay? So maybe when you watch this video, you may want to compare sun signs or moon signs or ascendants. You may want to look at your Venus or your Mars, okay? But it's more than just one sign. I just want to make that clear, okay? Well, here we go. Aries compatibility. How do you get along with other signs, Aries? Okay, well, Aries is a fire sign, and it's kind of a feisty, go-getting sign, you know? I want to say, if you're an Aries dating another Aries, or what is the compatibility like between Aries and Aries? Well, the two signs. So whether you're comparing sun, ascendant, moons, it could be a little bit challenging because both of you could be, want to be the boss, you know? Aries is a very, I'm in charge kind of sign, and, you know, can be a little bit feisty, so you two could be so much alike that it may be hard to get along. But I will say that if one of you decides, like, I'm going to be the boss of this and you're going to be the boss of this, like, you know, maybe the woman's going to say, all right, I'm in charge of the kids, you know, and maybe the guy is going to say, I'm in charge of the house and the bills or whatever. If you guys have certain things set up where you know what you're going to be in charge of, it could work, but you may struggle for power in the relationship. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're a Taurus dating an Aries, now one thing that could be, Taurus and Aries, I would say get along, but Aries could get annoyed with Taurus thinking before doing. Aries likes things done like this, really quick. And Taurus, you know, takes their time, you know, let's see, you know, let me think about it first, and then I'll go and make a decision. And this can include in bed. Now, you got to watch where your Venus and Mars is, okay? But, you know, Aries could be, depending on if you're male or female, you're looking at Venus or Mars. But, you know, Aries can be quick to arrive, shall we say, and Taurus can be known for stamina. So this could pose a problem. You know, Aries could be, come on, let's go. And then maybe, you know, want to go again later, but Taurus can maybe take a while. They like to savor things. So it could be drawn out and take some time. Okay, Aries and Gemini. Well, these two really do get along. Both of them are a bit chatty, and their mind works quick. So I think that if you're an Aries and you're, you know, I think that on a mental level you would get along, and both of you get bored easily, totally. The only thing, Gemini, Aries can be known, well, because Aries get bored so easy too, you just got to make sure both of you are faithful, you know, especially Gemini, because Gemini is like, woo, I like the blonde, I like the redhead, and then, you know, the brunette's kind of nice too. And, you know, you're going to have to, Gemini, depending on your Venus and Mars, if you're looking at those planets, they could be restless. So, but for the most part, mentally, you get along. Both of you have you're quick with the thinking and chatty, which is good. I would say that Gemini would not get bored so much with Aries because of this, you know. Gemini likes mental stimulation. Okay. So we're going to go to Cancer. If you're an Aries and you're dating a Cancer, I will have to say Aries likes their space. They like their independence. So Cancer could make Aries feel a little bit stifled, like, you know, I don't have my space, you know, I feel like we're joined at the hip. And Cancers, not all Cancers are going to be this way, but I'm just saying, depending on what else is in your chart. But for the most part, you may feel crowded. And Aries, you know, if you try to possess an Aries, good luck, because they will be gone. Hasta la vista. You know, they're not going to be, they do not want to be possessed. They like to be independent. They like to be their own person going in their own direction. And Cancer just is more like the sign that's, you know, can't we just be together? I just want to be with you. And Cancer could be more needy, whereas Aries doesn't need to be as needy. You know, Aries likes to, you know, to be about and doing its own thing, whereas, you know, Cancer not so much. You know, Cancer is like, I want to do this together. You know, I want to be together. I want to be with you. I want to be close. And Aries is like, I like being close sometimes, but other times I want my space. So if you are an Aries and you're dating a Cancer, it could be a problem. I also want to say that Aries is a very strong sign. And, you know, be careful if you're dating a Cancer not to hurt their feelings, because Aries can be very bold, very direct. And, you know, Cancer could get hurt in this combination because, you know, you may see Aries little footprints all over Cancer's head because, well, Aries can tend to be abrupt and just do things without thinking, and this includes, you know, very, if you have especially Mercury in Aries, and one has Mercury in Cancer, well, one speech could be really bold and very direct, where the other one may get hurt easily. I'm just saying the sign of Cancer can get a little hurt with Aries direct and aggressive energy, you know? So you want to be aware of that. And if don't lead Cancer on, that is so not nice. So if you're just thinking, okay, this person's just for the good time and not the long time, don't do that to Cancer, because they really feel deeply and they'll be very, very hurt. Okay. So, what else is, okay, Aries and Leo, good combo. Both of them are fire signs. They get along really great. I want to say, Leo is it's the strength that Aries needs. You know, Aries, especially if you're a woman, and I can tell you because I'm an Aries sun, it's hard to be an Aries and be a girl because, you know, no matter what, like I have a Cancer moon and a Virgo ascendant, but still, like, at the soul level, I'm very strong-minded and very, you know, I can be very aggressive with the way I feel, and I'm going to tell you, and, you know, so, you know, it takes a strong partner to handle an Aries sun. And Leo's a good combo. Leo likes a lot of attention, and Aries just, I think that Aries may be fascinated by Leo in a lot of ways, because number one, they're kind of an aggressive sign too, and Leo could be bold as well. Leo's very generous, and Aries would like the attention as well, because Aries does get bored easily. And let's face it, Leos attract attention, and Aries would like that. It's a very, I would say it's a very, very good combination, Aries and Leo. Okay, Aries and Virgo. Well, this is, you know, I don't want to say it's a bad combination, you know, but I will say that Virgo is more analytical and probably more cautious and careful. And Aries is a sign that can leap before looking, you know, when it comes to relationships. So in dating a Virgo, Virgos can get more analytical, and Aries could be like, maybe, you know, like I'm feeling analyzed, and Aries likes to do things at the seat of their pants, you know, like, let's not plan it, let's just, like, what time is it? Oh, it's 7 o'clock, let's go to the lake, you know? Whereas Virgo may say, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I would like to go to the lake. And Aries, I don't think they like time schedules, you know, where Virgo really does. So, you know, Aries may say, you know, what's up with the, you know, they want spontaneity, where Virgo may not like spontaneity as much. Virgo may say, okay, we have sex on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Aries is like, well, can't we just do it when we feel up to it? You know? So there could be some issues there with one constantly wanting to kind of organize and you know, being very meticulous in the relationship, where the other one is just like, wants to just let be and let's just go with the flow and see how it goes. Okay, Libra. Whoa. All I could say is, whoa. This is your opposite sign. So Aries, if you get with a Libra, it could be fireworks, and then it could be like World War II. The reason I say this, Aries is a very strong sign, and Aries is ruled by Mars, and Libra is ruled by Venus. bow chicka bow wow. There could be a lot of attraction between the two of you. But because you're the opposite, you're the shadow sign of each other, there could be a lot of button pushing, you know, a lot of, you know, Aries is a direct sign. So Aries would, you know, like know what they want. You know, I know what I want. And Libra, a lot of times it takes them a while to figure out what they really want. And sometimes they can go with the flow for the sake of, I don't want to argue. Okay? And sometimes it'll be like, you know, whatever, fine, have it your way. I just don't want to fight, you know? Where Aries, they like that little, you know, fighting a little bit in the relationship. They like a little bit of tension. It keeps things interesting for an Aries, whereas Libra detests, they really hate any kind of environment that's not really harmonious, or, you know, they're like, can't we just get along, you know? So there could be problems in that regard, where sometimes Aries could create problems where there's none. And I want to say this is because they're a fire sign and they're so passionate about things, you know. I want to say in signs there are thinkers and there are feelers, you know, and you really want to look at your moon for this one if you're comparing moon signs. But Aries is passionate, so this is a feeling sign. And Libra is a thinking sign. So Aries may be more, you know, passionate and direct and, well, I feel this way. And Libra's like, well, let me think about it. You know, let's talk about it and we'll see. And Aries is like, no, I want to do this now. Like, you know, or if let's say that Libra doesn't really know what he or she wants. Don't kind of wait too long to figure it out, because Aries is the type of person that says, you know what, I'll figure it out for you. Bye-bye, ciao. You know, and Aries, they like the chase, but if you make them wait too long, they move on, because their whole thing is they want somebody who's just as interested in them. They do like to work a little bit to get the person. They like the chase. If it's too easy, it's not fun. But if you make it so, like, when they're really into you for a long time and you really don't know what you want, they'll move on. Just so you know. Only works for so long with an Aries, and then they're next, you know. But yeah, it could be fireworks with this combination. So if you notice you're an Aries, you've got Aries planets, and you keep attracting people with planets in Libra, or Sun, Ascendant, or Rising in Libra, then you know why. Lots of attraction. Always your opposite sign, there's going to be attraction, just so you know. All right, so Aries and Scorpio. Well, both of you are ruled by Mars. So this could work out really nicely. And it depends on the planets of the rest of your houses and stuff. But Aries, you know, I want to say they're not as intense as Scorpio. Scorpio could be a really intense sign, you know. But both of you, I think, may have feistiness to your personalities. I think here's the thing. For the most part, they say, you know, fire usually gets along with fire, and fire and air get along together, okay? And Scorpio is a water sign, but you're both ruled by Mars. So I would say that, you know, depending on the other planets in your chart, now if you're in Aries, where sometimes Aries, it's hard to keep their attention. They're from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And, you know, Scorpio likes that intensity. They want to know, like, you know, you're all about me, and we're going to be together, mind, body, and soul, you know? And sometimes Aries could get into something right away and say, yeah, you know, I really want to be with this person, and, you know, this is great. And all of a sudden, Aries, because they leap before looking, they could say, oh, hell no, what did I do? I don't think that this person is what I thought they were, you know? So that could happen. Now, I will tell you this, like me, I have my Aries in the 8th house, which makes me a rather intense Aries, okay? So Scorpio would be fine for me, you know, but you got to see where your house is placed, where your sign is placed as well, you know? So not all Aries are going to be this intense, and sometimes Scorpio's intensity could make them like, I'm not sure about this, you know? So you want to look at that. Okay, Sagittarius. Well, both Aries and Sagittarius, both are fire signs. They get along really, really well. You know, Sag is known to have that sense of humor, and I think this would keep, you know, the Aries would love that. Aries gets bored easy, and I want to say that Sag is a more philosophical sign. Perhaps, you know, both of them are outdoorsy, okay? Aries is known for athletics, and Sagittarius is known to be outdoorsy and travel and, you know, into cultures. And so they're both kind of adventurous in some way. And I would say they pretty much get along really well, you know. And Sag is known to be the fun sign in the zodiac, you know. Usually if you have planet in Sag, you, depending on what it is, you may have a good sense of humor, and you may be, you know, like people who have their moon in Sag, you know, they're, even though it's intense, but they have like a happy moon, you know. So if you want to see what planet, you want to kind of compare planets with these signs. But that sign, both of them get along really well. Both are adventurous, both of them are on the go kind of sign, and passionate, very passionate, and both are feelers. Okay, so Aries and, where am I at? Capricorn. Aries and Capricorn. Well, here's one that might have issues a little bit, and not huge issues, but and again, you have to look at the rest of your chart. Capricorn is a very serious sign. It's very, you know, I want all the facts before I act on this, you know. Capricorn is a thinker sign, not a feeler. Aries is a feeler. So when Aries feels it, it acts right away. You know, this is how I feel, da, 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 you know. They let you know. They don't wait around. Whereas Capricorn wants all the facts first, and they could be colder. Capricorn is one of the coldest sign in the zodiac, but not just because you have a planet in Capricorn doesn't mean you would be cold. You have to look at the rest of the chart. But for the most part, I want to say Aries could be less level-headed as far as that's concerned, because they're known to get into things quickly and not think thoroughly, whereas Capricorn is more, they're looking for the security, the stability in things. And Aries is more like, oh, like think of Aries as, they're known as the children of the zodiac. So they're kind of playful, they get into stuff, and it's like, ooh, that was bad, shouldn't do that one again, you know? Whereas Capricorn is the opposite. They're the really adults of the zodiac, you know? They're sort of, I want to say the grandpa and grandma of the zodiac, because, you know, wherever you have Capricorn or Saturn in the chart, you know, it represents being older, being more mature. Or if it's in the 7th house, it could represent being married to an older person or being married later in life. But, you know, Capricorn, Aries and Capricorn could get along depending on other planets in the chart, but for the most part, just signs alone, I want to say that, you know, Capricorn may find Aries fun, but I want to say Aries is a little bit more aggressive and, you know, a lot more energy than Capricorn, you know, so it's not, you know, I don't think it's the worst, but it's not the best, you know. Okay, so, the other sign is Pisces, no, Aquarius. Now, Aries gets along with Aquarius, okay? Both of them like their space. Both of them are rather independent signs, okay? Aries would, I want to say, Aries could be a little more chatty than Aquarius, and Aquarius could find Aries, see, Aquarius are the thinkers and Aries are the feelers. So even though one is a thinker, one is a feeler, they still get along. Because Aries could admire Aquarians' foresighted thinking, okay? Like thinking in the future. And Aquarius could admire Aries' adventurous nature, you know? And because I want to say Aquarius is more like in their head. They're always thinking things and they don't always act. And I think that Aries could be a little bit more conversational than Aquarius. The only issues that I could see coming from this is, you know, Aries may, you know, not know where he or she stands with Aquarius sometimes, because Aquarius, you know, there's the introverted Aquarians and there's the extroverted ones, you know. The introverted ones, Aries may not know where he or she stands with that person, you know, but they both like their space, you know, for the most part. Okay. Pisces, Aries and Pisces, well, both of these are feeling signs, so that's good. But I will say that an issue that I could see that would come up with Pisces is Aries is kind of a, you know, love at first sight kind of a person, you know. I like it, I want it, I go for it, you know. And Pisces could take a while to make up their mind too, like kind of like Libra. So this could be an issue. And Pisces are very creative. So Aries may be fascinated by Pisces' creative side. But one thing, Aries is so like mentally quick, you know. Pisces may seem slower in that regard to an Aries, you know. They may admire Pisces' talented side, you know, music or art or something like this. But, you know, I will say, you know, I'm not going to say that it's not the ideal sign. Okay, let's put it this way for Aries. But Aries needs someone who's quick, who can keep up with them. And to be honest with you, Aries needs a very strong sign to handle them. So preferably, Aries gets along with the fire and air signs. Okay, well, this was my synopsis of Aries, and I will be doing the other signs next. Have a good day.